Hi, this is Dave and Jim with today's One Rep Constructive Conversation. Let's get into today's subject.
Way.
Right.
And what we need to be mindful of is that we're retaining that money's necessary to complete that
Yeah, to
work.
fix whatever the problem
Sure,
is.
if
Right.
in fact, heaven forbid, the contractor were to walk away from the project.
Right.
So that's, yes, we need to be mindful of that, and that's part of our responsibility as owner's representative, is to ensure that those funds remain available to the YMCA.
And in all the years we did project, I only remember one time, I think, where Rick or somebody did some work for something that somebody just wouldn't come back and do. It's the retainage. Is for projects, other projects you've done, is it more common than that, or is it pretty rare that they don't they run all the way around the track and they're gonna stumble and not go through the tape? Like, it doesn't make any sense to me, but I don't know. I'm asking.
No. Sadly, there are instances where someone's health has failed.
Oh, okay.
That's more like, or unrelated to the project.
Right.
The financial health of the company is failing and comes to a conclusion before the project ends. Right. They go out of business.
Oh,
right.
Hopefully at the very, very end, I guess. Or that's going to happen.
Sure. Or it just gets forgotten.
Yeah.
A great example. We have one accessory we have to deal with on the YMCA that the building inspector is questioning. It's a standard thing, but in his case, he learned from another experience that this has to be addressed. Well, because it is so remote to the occupancy, the excitement of utilizing the facilities, that it gets forgotten.
Right.
And the next thing you know is, hey, wait a minute, we've got to address this. And so we find ourselves backtracking because the funds remain in hand. That's a trigger to help us remember that we've got to get this addressed, right? So that's the value, having that retainage and managing that retainage.
So these architectural contracts are standard forms, right? They're out there. Ys have the owner's representation. We already talked about the whole process of figuring out who the contractors will be and all that kind of stuff. Right. But you finally figure out what all the terms are going to be. You put it all in there. The process is, does that then go to like an attorney in town to review? Like, it is always reviewed by an attorney?
Absolutely.
Like, it's a standard form. You're just filling in the blanks, but right?
Right, because yes, you want your solicitor to be actively involved in the formulation of the contract.
Right.
We're happy to help expedite that process and inject our experience in what those terms typically from project to project are.
Right.
But we also have the contractor who has a particular payment term from one of their contractors that wants to be paid 50% up front. That gets incorporated in the contract at the risk of, again, going back to the funding source.
Right.
Is the funder going to reject financing that expenditure if it's not understood by all parties?
So there's nuances. Funders, you're talking state and federal funding sources.
Oh, sure.
Right? Basically.
Or donors.
Well, okay.
Donors may have restrictions on the distribution of their contribution if X, Y, and Z aren't met. Again, and that needs to end up in that contract. So oftentimes the contract, there's the base agreement with all these exhibits.
Right.
Last project I did had 14 exhibits.
Right.
And much of it had to do with public funding sources.
So to put together the contract that goes to the attorney for a legal review, is that like 50-50, one rep and the attorney, or is one rep putting all the stuff in there and the attorney's just making sure it's legal?
Yeah. Well, we want to limit our solicitor's investment in the process by providing a clean and clear package for them to review.
Okay, right. So most of the grunt work's being done by one rep. To fill in all the blanks.
That's our objective. Yes.
So once the general contractor is selected, then do we put together that and say, hey, look at this and tell you to think, or is that a conversation first to say, okay, are there any weird things, and then we'll put it in? How's that work?
Oh, it goes. You definitely early in the process bring to the solicitor's attention that this is the approach we're going to take. Right. And share that basic draft that comes from AIA's resources. to get the attorney's feedback early.
Right.
Does he see a clause, like for example,
Right.
arbitration or litigation,
Right.
if there's an issue, and oftentimes the attorneys have a preference.
Right, it has to be in this county or whatever.
Well, sure, but you want to talk through that preference and make sure we all understand the implications of the attorney. Yes, we want to take direction from our attorney because they're at the end of the day responsible for that. But ultimately, yes, we understand the attorney's position on that format, and we inject the information from the project, the exhibits, return it to the attorney so that they can expedite that review.
Okay, so, at what point, where in there is there conversation with the GM?
The general contractor?
Yeah, I'm sorry. GC,
No, that's all right. Well, obviously, part of that presentation and compiling, getting their bids or their proposals, they already know the contract format, and they know the anticipated terms that we're expecting to incorporate.
All right. So once they give you that and it's all ironed out, really you're just putting that information in there and then giving it to the attorney. I was just trying to figure out, is there a time after you put all that in, does that, I mean, it's the form itself has to go to the attorney to review just to get it right to begin with. Then you put everything in there. Does that go back to the attorney first and then the general contractor?
Oh yeah, by all means.
Okay,
right.
Just trying to give everybody
No, understand. We want to make sure the attorney's bought into the contract format before we go ahead and sell it to the contractor.
And how often does a change come back from the attorney from the general contractor?
Oh, well, very often.
Almost always, right?
Yeah.
And then you're playing back and forth.
Well, that's when, especially, depending upon the depth of the legal aspect of that term, we often are mediators between their attorney and our attorney. Keeping in mind this takes time, and this is a key point of the project where we want to get going. And yet we have two attorneys who often are very busy, and so we need to help them get to the table, get through these nuances. But it's not a whole contract negotiation.
It's usually
elements.
It's one or two things.
It's components of that get negotiated through, and we're there to support those negotiations. Yeah.
Anything else about contracts you want to throw in there, and we'll wrap it up?
Oh, I'm sure we can think of a few hundred things, but in this case, I think we've addressed it for today. Very good. Thanks.
All right, thank you. And just when you thought contracts were a form you find online, you figure out the right one, you just fill it in and give it to your attorney. No, it's more complicated than that. It's always more complicated than that. And if you are surprised at how complicated this is, again, for the new CEOs that are out there, you definitely want someone in your corner that has a lot of experience in construction. So that said, thank you very much.
Thank you.
See you for the next one.
You bet.
Well, that's our One Rep Constructive Conversation for today. Thanks for watching. One Rep, we want to bring what we've learned in Pennsylvania to the whole rest of the country. We've had extensive experience doing YMCA capital projects here over the last 25 years, and we've had great success minimizing changes that YMCAs have had to make, compromises. We're minimizing the compromises that YMCAs have to make. And part of that, of course, is we want to minimize the unnecessary charges, and what that winds up being a lot of times is an increase in the mortgage amount, right? The debt load. And we want to make sure your Y is successful and your project is successful. So if you'd like more information about One Rep, you could visit us on our website. We have a Facebook page. We're on LinkedIn. Please give Jim or I a call anytime. We're happy to come out to your Y and talk to you about your project, or have a free Zoom consultation to talk about your project. Thanks for watching again, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.